Hello and welcome back to Tyrion Cuthbert, Attorney of the Arcane. Last time we did the first trial. In the courtroom we met the prosecutor for the game, Aria Steelwind, and we met the main detective of the game, Orym White. It was a very rough day for Tyrion. He kind of had a panic attack, but like we all have them sometimes, so I don't judge. And basically all we did was prove that someone pushed Celeste's sword into Flinhart's body and tried to frame her for the crime. And that's all we did. We only proved that there was a chance that someone else put the sword in. And in this episode we're going to be doing the first real investigation, because last time, like 2 episodes ago, it was just an introduction. We didn't really investigate anything. We only found Flinhart's body. So today we're going to be doing an investigation to try and find out who killed him. The Inquisition had set up a teleportation circle at the crime. The Inquisition had set up a teleportation circle at the crime scene. As the defense attorney for this case, I was permitted to use it. With it, I could instantly travel back and forth between the McCoy Tavern and the capital. It was miles better than having to travel by carriage. Okay, so I was editing this video last night, and I remember saying that my voice was so good for him, and then when I edited it, it wasn't bad, but it sounded way better when I did it. So I'm just gonna go with it and hope that it sounds better than it did last time. Oh, it's you. What are you doing here? Commander White stepped in my way as I approached the tavern entrance. This time, I took out my attorney's runestone and presented it to him. I'm the defense attorney in this case. I have every right to look at the crime scene. Whatever. Just remember, I've got my eye on you. You can take that rock out of my face now. Sorry. Investigations. Investigate, talk, examine, blah blah blah. Okay, examine. So, when I first did this series, and I was like 3 years ago, I want to say, I didn't really do any of the extra dialogue. I just kind of did what was like mandatory, and then I just recorded that. But this time, I think I'm just gonna get as much dialogue as I can. I'm not gonna present everything to people because that would just be, I don't have the willpower to do that. I don't have it. But I will investigate. Like, I'll investigate all these pictures, mostly because, if you're not aware, that at the end of the game there's like a scene that gives room for a sequel, and I think that all these pictures, and throughout the game there's way more pictures and that has info, and I think that they'll somehow correlate to the sequel. So I just want to investigate that. So if there's even the smallest chance that in the future there's ever a sequel for this game, and if there is a sequel, I'll probably record it, because like I've already done one full playthrough of this, and now I'm doing another one. So if a sequel comes out, I may as well record that one. But like, if it does come out, then at least if the pictures and the info correlate to or like come back up in the sequel, then at least I'll have this here, so it flows better. Anyway, there were candles on each of the tables in the dining area, but there were also lamps mounted on the walls. On closer inspection, they appeared to be artificiery, machines that could reproduce the effects of magic. Why wasn't the Inquisition using those instead? There was a lamp mounted on the wall. It seemed to be built into the tavern. Is this an artificiery machine? I didn't expect to find something this sophisticated in a town like this.
Artificiary is just magic with a different name.
Actually, these machines draw ether from surrounding ley lines to...
I didn't ask for a science lesson. Anyways, look where Artificiary got these folks. The energy cell broke, they haven't had any power for weeks. Just goes to show that nothing can beat good oil and flame.
Broken power cell. The McCoy Inn is outfitted with several lamps powered by Artificiary. However, the arcane power cell has been broken for weeks and the lamps can't be turned on. I really hope that the word Artificiary doesn't come up that much. Let's see. I'm sure the body is not important, so we'll leave that to last. Okay, what's this? A suave gentleman in a red hat? Oh, he's pointing at me. It's a portrait of someone. There's some text on it. Adam Everley, politician of the pedantic. I've heard of this guy. He's some kind of politician from one of the nations south of here. I heard he's pretty much a shoe-in to win whatever election they have going there. You know, I'm kind of disappointed because, like, the coattails of his suit, I thought that was that hair, so I thought it was just a guy with great long hair, but nope. An election? Had Flinhart been studying alternate forms of government for his little revolution? It's a painting of a mage. There's some text on it. Somala Dalian, a legendary practitioner of the arcane arts. He mysteriously disappeared one day. Now, I remember this specifically. This is what's making me think. This picture by itself is what makes me think that some of these pictures are going to have some relation to the next game, assuming the next game ever exists. It's rumored that he was developing a formula for a new transmutation spell. Dalian was reckless in casting the spell, however, and he quickly lost control of it. His body was never found. Many speculate that he didn't die during the accident, but if that were true, where did the spell take him?
Sounds like a cautionary tale against using magic.
That might have explained why Flinhart kept it in his tavern. Let's see. Okay, let's check the bottle. Shards of a broken bottle were next to the chalk outline. This shard has a label on it. It says lotus juice.
I've never heard of that brand before.
Shattered bottle of lotus juice. And finally the body. There was a chalk outline on the ground of the tavern, creating a rough silhouette of Flinhart's body. The chalk lines matched the crime scene photo in my runestone. I noticed the traces of transmutation magic on the ground in the photo. I traced my finger over the areas where they had been detected. The texture was rougher and almost sticky. Did someone use transmutation magic to alter the floor? Lotus juice. Sticky substance. What could this be? Anyways, I think that's everything. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Ah. Questions. Commander White, I was wondering if I could ask you some questions.
You seriously think I'd want to help you? I know who your boss is, and I know what you're up to. She probably sent you here to con me.
I just need information about the crime scene, as is my right.
Yeah, sure you do.
At first, I thought he was just another corrupt knight, but this felt oddly personal. I wondered if this could all just be a misunderstanding. I might be able to persuade him to cooperate with me. Psychological profiles. You'll occasionally need to argue against people and persuade them to cooperate with your investigation. Psychological profiles help you in those ensuing arguments. They give you information about your opponent and help you understand which options to pick. You can fill a person's psychological profile by talking to them or presenting certain items. Okay, well, let's talk, because that sounds easier. Okay, so not the Inquisition. So, what does the Arcane Inquisition do exactly?
You're trying to pick a fight with me?
No, I'm genuinely curious. Well, we're called in whenever they find traces of magic at a crime scene. Do crime scenes like this happen often?
Nah, maybe once in a blue moon.
It made sense. Most mages weren't the nobility after all. The ones who made a habit of falling into scandals didn't last very long. You must have an easy job then.
got that right. That's the only reason we exist, to clean up the nobility's messes.
He didn't seem very happy about that. Mages. You seem to speak negatively about magic. Do you have a personal grudge against mages?
Well, it ain't a grudge. It's just common sense. All it takes is one spell. Some rich kid just needs to wave their "oh god, I accidentally." Then the next thing you know, someone's dead on the ground, or you lose the power to speak. Oh god, not to mention, if some bonehead really overuses their magic, they end up snapping and going on a rampage.
Are you talking about mage blight?
Yep, is what happens when a mage gets too arrogant. And nobles have that in spades.
I don't know if this is going too far, but why would you join the Inquisition if you hate mages so much? Considering the fact that...
My job is to sweep the nobility's crimes under the rug.
I didn't mean to insinuate.
Nope, you have the right of it. Anytime a noble screws up, I'm told to look the other way. But every once in a while, I'm allowed to put a criminal mage behind bars. We can't go after the nobles, but any other mage is fair game. Or at least, they were before your boss showed up.
My boss? Did he have something against what Miss Tymora was doing? Ruby Tymora. It would kind of been awkward if I did this in the opposite order, because the conversation wouldn't really flow, but I digress. I have to ask, did something happen between you and Miss Tymora?
Yeah. Miss Tymora, you really are her lackey through and through.
She's my legal guardian. I owe a lot to her.
Oh, that's who you were this whole time? I didn't even know she had a kid. Look, I don't know what she's told you, but she ain't the hero you think she is.
This is about the rumours, isn't it? They're just lies spread by the nobility to discredit her. I am confident that my favourite person ever, my mom, Ruby, she would never hurt a fly. She'd never do anything wrong. I trust her with my life.
They ain't lies, kid. I've seen it for myself. That woman's a criminal.
My hand clenched into a fist before I calmed myself down. This wasn't the time for emotion. She defends mages who don't have the protection of the nobility. She hates their aristocracy just as much as you do. Yeah, what?
Yeah, whatever.
Okay, that voice is a lot. I kind of regret, because I know you're such a main character, so I kind of regret giving you this voice, but I'll survive. Well, the psychological profile is completed, so let's just do the argument. I hope I don't make myself look like a fool. Commander White was being hostile towards me. At first, I thought he was just being corrupt or apathetic, but he seemed to have a personal grudge against Miss Tymora and me. If I could clear up this misunderstanding, he might help me. Yes. Commander White is stubborn and stuck in his ways. He seems to have a grudge against Ruby Tymora and will react negatively if you try to defend her. However, he will respect you if you defend yourself against personal attacks. Do you have an issue with me, Commander White?
Don't give me that crap. I've seen who you work for. You think I don't know what you're doing? Ruby Tymora is a crooked lawyer. I'll be dead in the ground before I help you.
I think because we have to defend against personal attacks, it's going to be deflect. Regardless of what Miss Tymora has done, I'm the one heading this case. You don't even know me. Whatever problems you have with her, they have nothing to do with me.
I've seen how she defends her clients. Forgery, bribery, blackmail. She'll do whatever it takes to win. You're just another crook. It doesn't matter what you say. I know you're just like her.
Maybe I think you just deflect again. Yeah, I'm not Ruby Tymora. What you think of her isn't relevant here. Regardless of what you've seen her do, I'm trying to run an honest case.
Kid, the one I've seen her pull in court, I'm not going to fall for it. I have no reason to trust you. No matter what, you're a crooked lawyer, raised by the biggest crook of them all.
I have no reason to trust you. You have no proof he's a crook, and you certainly don't have any proof I'm one either. So don't defend Ruby. So it's not defend. I don't think it's going to be rationalized because, like, it referenced that she taught me law, so I don't think you like that, so I think we just deflect for the third time in a row. I'm just a defense attorney who's asking you for information about the case. None that I've done has given you any reason to suspect me. He spent some time searching for a rebuttal, but after a while, he just let out a resigned sigh.
You just want info on the case, right?
Yes, that's all I'm asking for.
Alright, fine. I'll answer your questions. But you better not make me regret this.
Argument 1. I successfully persuaded Orym White. Oh god, here we go. Murder weapon. I'm not entirely sure that the sword was the real murder weapon.
Right. I guess you want to prove that someone else stuck the sword in the body.
Did the Inquisition find anything suspicious on the scene?
If you're asking if we found another bloody weapon lying around, we didn't.
That would have been a little too convenient, wouldn't it?
If there was another murder weapon, they could have probably walked out with it.
Do you think they could have hidden it somewhere in the tavern?
Doubt it. After the trial, Steelwind turned the place upside down and scanned it with her magic. If there was something hidden here, we would have found it already.
Orym's mistake. I can't believe you overlooked something so obvious.
Oh, shut her with that. I already got an earful about that mess from Steelwind. Well, you don't have to worry about me screwing up. Steelwind's taken over the entire investigation.
Do prosecutors normally do that?
No, but she ain't no prosecutor. She's a Steelwind. I know better than to go against orders from her source. I know we made a mistake, but she's taken this too far. She even had my men draft a map of the crime scene.
Really? Could I see it?
Knock yourself out. I have a bunch of copies. Don't know how much of good it'll do you, though.
Crime scene map. A geometrically scaled map of the crime scene. Well, let's just... Where evidence, okay. Let's see. View. 5 feet, 5 feet. Well, as I'm sure you can tell by my voice, I have no idea what 5 feet is, so I'm just gonna assume that this is large enough. No, it doesn't have the stairs, so... Well, whatever. I'm sure like this is just the first floor, so this is the entrance. So the stairs are probably just back here. Okay, cool. Aria Steelwind. I heard that this was Prosecutor Steelwind's first trial. She must be pretty talented if that's true.
A pain in my ass is what she is. Damn Noble came in here telling me to do my job. Lord knows what she's even doing here.
Do you think she's here on behalf of her father?
I honestly don't know. My men are on edge because of that. You know, we were applied to one of those regions. The ones where Old Man was squashing those rebellions. They said we needed to investigate the terrorists there. But by the time we got there, they just had to speed up the bodies.
Scared Lord.
Doesn't matter if it's women or children. To steal Steelwind would kill them all the same. A bunch of my men going after that. They couldn't stomach working for a monster like that.
What about you?
We all gotta get paid somehow. Not like I can do anything. He's basically just a joke.
I'd found everything that I could in the dining area, but what did it all mean? No other murder weapon was found, and there wasn't any evidence of another person at the scene either. I only knew about the anonymous witness who discovered the body.
Hey, you okay, kid?
Once again, I let everything else disappear from my world.
You listening?
There's no clear evidence pointing to the killer. There is, however, evidence pointing to whether or not Flinhart moved when he was attacked.
What?
How did Flinhart move before he died? There's no blood trail leading to or from the body. This fact implies something about the location of Flinhart's death. Deductions. During investigations, sometimes you'll sometimes go over all that you've learned to formulate deductions. Tyrion will think through the case and raise statements that must be answered. Use the arrows to construct a sentence that responds to the statement. While more than one response may be technically true, only one response will be meaningful. Oh god, he actually taught it. I did not expect that. To be fair, I feel like my voice is actually pretty similar to his. Like, obviously there's no accent, but like I feel like the pitch and tone is like close enough. So, how did Flinhart move before he died? Flinhart did not move during the attack. I assume this is just what we're going to go for. Flinhart died where he was attacked. He didn't move from his position at all. He might have even died instantaneously.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
There's also the autopsy report, which says that he died from a stab from behind. He must have been facing away from his attacker. He was probably caught off guard, and he would have been in shock and too incapacitated to move. It also doesn't look like his body was dragged anywhere either. He was definitely attacked right where this chalk outline is. Cool. There's also this shattered bottle of lotus juice. How did the bottle shatter? The fragments are right next to the body. The bottle must have only been shattered hours ago. How did the bottle shatter? Flinhart dropped the bottle during the attack. I assume this is it. Flinhart dropped the bottle exactly when he was attacked, which implies that he was holding it when the attack occurred. Updated evidence.
What's so strange about that?
These details may seem insignificant, but together, they'll give me a better idea of what the board looks like.
The board?
There's also the fact that the lights were out. Were these candles here when you arrived at the crime scene, Orym?
No, we had to light some so we could use the crime scene properly. See the crime scene properly. I don't know how you do the room, but we tried to.
What was the scene of the crime scene? It was dark. I think that's what we're going for.
We thought it was weird too. The girl in the bottom must have had that argument in the dark.
So, they didn't light any candles to make up for the broken lights.
What if?
Yeah, what if? Yes, what if? The crime scene wasn't lit. Wasn't lit. The crime scene wasn't lit by the lamps? Okay, cool. If there was any lighting during the attack, it could have been produced by the murderer. I could slowly see the position of the pieces, but there were still areas I wasn't sure of. The McCoy and his outfitted with several lamps powered by artificery. However, the arcane power cell has been broken for weeks and the lamps can't be turned on. This means that the lights were not operational during the murder. They might have used a torch or a lantern of some kind. Additionally, the argument that Celeste had with Flinhart must have been sparked by something. Things seemed to be fine between them before I went to bed. It was spontaneous. They weren't planning to have a conversation in this room. In this darkness, Flinhart wouldn't have had a lot of visibility. He probably never saw the attack coming. He would have been surprised and in too much shock to run away. And this would be a lot more cooler if I didn't stutter every 2 seconds.
Kid?
The bottle may seem insignificant, but he was holding it when he was attacked. Was he pouring a drink for himself or a visitor?
Kid.
I was in a frenzy, but the commander snapped me back to reality. Oh, that's disappointing. There wasn't the for like the induction music. There's always like a really nice one at the end, but we didn't get that.
What was that all about?
Sorry, I just get lost in my head sometimes.
Yeah, well, cut it out. You were mumbling like a crazy person.
Right, sorry.
It felt like
It felt like I'd found everything I could here. It was time to move somewhere else before my voice got consumed by Oryms. I'm sure this place will be useless, so let's go here. The courtroom lobby. Oh, Cuthbert, you're back? Sorry, I guess I'm just a little lost about where to go. Well, I guess I can give you some guidance. Assistance. During your investigation, you can talk to your mentor to get a clue on where to go next. Feel free to do this if you ever feel lost or stuck. In future cases, you may receive assistance from a certain mercenary. Well, I'll investigate first. This door led to the courtroom. Beyond these doors, the fates of countless people had been decided. You know, without going closer, this guy looks like... I can't think of his name, but do you know that the Steel type Elite 4 member from Pokemon X and Y? I feel like he kind of looks like this. Okay, he looks more refined when I'm this close. It's a painting of a knight. There's some text under it. Sir Diogo, former commander of the Arcane Inquisition, well beloved by both the people and his fellow knights. After many years of service, Commander Diogo retired with honours. With this plaque, we thank and honour him for his dedication and commitment to the Kingdom of Wyvernguard. It's a painting of a knight. There's some text under it. General David Serrano, former chief of the Kingsguard, a beloved ally of House Steelwind who served during the Great Illuminate War. The annals of history have countless tales of his courage, wit, and heroism. With this plaque, we thank and honour him for coming to the defence of our kingdom during one of our greatest times of need. There was a bench outside the courtroom. When I was a child, I used to sit there during Miss Tymora's trials. I'll talk to her for now, just because I don't want to get too much help from her, because I don't want to talk to someone just to tell me what to do, but I'll just, like, since it's the first case, and since I've already played, I know what happens, I'll just talk to her and see what it's like. I found a lot of clues, but I still don't know what really happened that night. No one in the state of a crime scene would be instrumental to cross-examining witnesses in the trial tomorrow. Each piece of evidence gives you a weapon you can use to cut through the prosecution's lies. Right, I needed to consider each piece of evidence that I gathered. They would be powerful tools in my cross-examinations. Where should I go next, Miss Tymora? The Inquisition should be done questioning Celeste by now. It might be helpful to talk to her and find out why she was arguing with Flinhart. Hopefully, she'll actually cooperate with you this time. Well, that's that. I'll go to the dungeons last. McCoy Tavern upstairs. As I made my way up the stairs, I overheard Steelwind arguing with someone. Oh, Aria. I thought that Lucy was here for some reason. Okay, cool. If you keep showing your face here, people will start asking questions. I really liked my voice for it too, but I can't. What was it? If you keep showing your face here, people will start asking questions. I have the investigation under control now. All you have to do is stay quiet until this is over. Okay, Yarrick Pierce, let's try this again. You may be a Steelwind, but this is my land. I will do as I see fit. Ugh. As I turned down the hallway, I bumped into what appeared to be a nobleman. With a quick motion, he drew a handkerchief to clean parts of his clothes that had brushed against me. His cold gaze hardened into a contemptuous glare. He gave me the same look he'd probably give to a rotten pile of excrement on the Cornhaven streets. Oh, sorry.
Watch where you're going, you weed!
Ah, you're that defense attorney from the trial, aren't you? And you are?
I am Garrick Pierce, the ruling noble of this land.
Garrick Pierce, the leader of House Pierce. He is the ruling noble of Cornhaven and the villages nearby. He appears to be involved in Prosecutor Steelwind's case against Celeste. But to what extent?
I suppose I should thank you for playing your role in the current trial. If only you weren't such a stubborn nuisance.
I suppose that you also believe my client is guilty?
I never said that.
But I'm not wrong, am I?
It matters not what I believe. The entire scandal has done nothing but rile up the public. Magic is a gift for the nobility, and the nobility alone. It is a symbol of our cosmic right to rule. Bastards like that girl should know their place. This is what happens when the gift of magic is used by those of impure blood.
She's just an innocent woman who got wrapped up in all of this.
I must commend you. You almost had me fooled.
Excuse me?
Wait, do you actually believe her little story?
What good is a defense attorney if they don't believe in their clients?
Scared lord, and here I took you for another envious commoner, but you actually believe that, right? Are you sure you're Tymora's brat?
I knew I had to pick my battles, but I really weighed the legal consequences of punching him square in the face.
Let me tell you something, boy.
Even if that bastard is innocent,
The charges have been laid and made public. Someone must take the fall, lest the public accuse the justice system of corruption. If the king believes there is any unrest here, even for a moment, he will unleash Lucio Steelwind and his soldiers upon the region. I am sure you're well aware of what tends to follow after.
That doesn't mean my client should be convicted of a crime she didn't commit.
What is one significant girl when compared to the stability and well-being of the people of this land? You're far too short-sighted.
That's enough. Stop antagonizing him, Pierce. He glanced at the prosecutor for a moment, and then back at me. For a moment, I caught a flicker of fear in his eyes. I suppose that even House Pierce had reason to fear the Steelwinds.
Goodbye, ta-ta.
Without another word, he walked down the stairs. I don't agree with him.
What?
Our system should exist to deliver. No, I need to get this right. Our system should exist to deliver truth and justice, not quell public opinion. If you really believe that, you won't be working against my client. Do you honestly think she's the kind of monster who would murder her own father?
I'm not so superficial that I judge someone based on their appearance. The only thing that I trust is evidence, and all of it points to her as the only possible killer.
Is that really what you believe? Or are you just hiding the fact that you're here on your father's behalf?
I am not working with my father. I'm working against him, just as much as you are.
What? She's working against her father?
My apologies. I don't know what came over me.
It's fine.
I respect you, Mr. Cuthbert. You should fight according to your own ideals, just as I will fight for mine.
Goodbye, Aria. I tried to think of a retort, but said nothing as she walked past me. Investigation. There were some candles lighting up the hallway. It looked like they were part of an old architecture. Several doors led to guest rooms. Aside from the rooms that Miss Tymora and I used, they didn't look like they'd been open for quite some time. There was a door at the end of the hallway. I saw light from under the door. Someone was inside. I tried to open the door, but it seemed to be locked. I knocked on the door, but received no answer in return. Okay, I guess that means we go to the barracks. Or the dungeons. What is it called? The Rat Home Dungeons. I arrived back at the dungeons. Celeste was huddled down in the corner of her cell. She noticed me, and the weight from her shoulders seemed to lift, if only for a moment. Hi. She had avoided me before, but I doubt she had seen many friendly faces since the trial. Hi, I can't stay for long. I just need to ask some questions about the case. Right. There was a steel door that led into the cell. A magical mechanism covered by a steel box was placed over the lock. I couldn't help but notice that the mechanism had a dent in it. It looked like the impact had come from within the cell. Lit torches were hanging on the cell walls. It seemed a bit irresponsible to light a fire in here, but prisoner safety was probably the last thing on the Inquisition's mind. The cell had a barred window. The bars were rusted. If a prisoner tried to escape, there would be a 3-story drop to free. Wait, is this in the cell? It's like, so the bars over here, is Tyrion on like the other side? Because I thought this was like the waiting room, but I guess if this is the actual cell, then I never realized that. Oh. Oh. The trial. I'm really sorry for what happened today. Well, it all ended up okay in the end, right? I was unusually forgiving. If she hadn't calmed me down, the trial may have ended very differently. I still don't understand though. Why were there so many traces of magic at the crime scene? Did you cast Mage Blade on your sword that day? I used it when I was training last week. Is that where those traces came from? No. Magical traces only last for 48 hours. After that, they disappear completely. Not to mention that spells only leave traces of magic on the objects that they are cast on. Even if the sword made physical contact with the body, the traces shouldn't have spread to the wound. Really? What does that mean then? I don't know. The floor next to the body had a strange texture to it too. If the killer used a transmutation spell, it may have changed your sword and the surrounding floor. That doesn't make any sense though. I know my theory sounds far-fetched, but the traces were only on parts of the sword. That must mean that the outer layer of the sword must have broken off during the murder. But my sword can't be damaged like that, even when transmutation magic is used on it. That's the whole reason why I have it. How can you be so sure? Back when I was traveling, I'd always break my weapons by swinging them too hard. They'd end up breaking in 2 or 3 swings, maybe 4 if it was well made. How much force was she swinging those weapons with? That sword was a gift from one of my clients. He said it was specially carved from the bones of a purple worm. Transmutation spells can't damage them. I've had it for years, and it doesn't have a single chip in it. I don't even need to sharpen it. Where did you get this sword again? The Eastern Kingdoms. Isn't travel outside of Wyverngard illegal? Oh, okay, well that's a weird law. Mercenaries don't have a lot more legitimate options for work in Wyverngard. I did what I had to do. I doubted I'd be able to contact the swords maker in time, if at all. I would just have to take her word for it. But if what she was saying was true, why weren't traces of transmutation magic covering the entire sword? Could you tell me more about your father? What? I'm sorry, I know this must be difficult for you. I remember how you two were yesterday. Is this really going to help? Knowing more about him could help me figure out who actually did this. Okay. I was adopted by the McCoys when I was a baby, but they always treated me like I was part of the family. townsfolk would always shoo me away. They didn't want anything to do with a noble bastard. My dad got into a bunch of fights with them over that. But I had to go and ruin everything. He was the voice of dissidence, wasn't he? Did you share his views? I knew he hated the nobility, but I didn't know about his rallies until just recently. If I knew how much danger his life was in, I'd have never left Wyvengard. I think he knew that. If I had been there that night, he'd still be... It's all my fault. It's not your fault. No one could have expected that. I felt sorry for her, but I really needed to know more. I could hear arguments from my room last night. Your neighbours must have overheard it too. Did any of them come by to check up on you two? They might have seen the person who did this. I doubt it. Even if they did see something, they wouldn't testify for someone like me. Why? Thought your father was a key figure among the dissidents. Yeah, but all of his supporters came from the neighbouring towns. Everyone inside the village hates their family. People could tell I was adopted. It's not as if I looked like either of my parents. Rumours spread about how some noble lord must have had a tryst with my mom. They were wrong, obviously, but it's hard to stop a rumour like that when it spreads. That's terrible. It's fine. I stopped caring about it years ago. Things were manageable before, but things got worse when my dad started speaking out against the nobility. He wasn't just a pariah at that point. He was drawing a lot of attention to Cornhaven. Everyone's heard the rumours about what the Grand General is doing in villages like ours. The neighbours tried to threaten my dad to stop, and when that didn't work, they started vandalising their tavern. They'd even steal my parents' supplies. I had to come back to Wyvengard because some of the other villagers broke into the tavern. They were cowards. They thought they could scare your dad into stopping. They were scared. My dad was painted a giant target on its region. It's not as if the kingdom would care if a village like ours were destroyed. She wasn't wrong. Stories of Lucio Steelwind were circulated in the papers for months. Even with that, he still stood at the top of this kingdom. There were no real consequences. Could you tell me why Flinhart was so angry at you? For as long as I can remember, my dad has hated magic. If you even mentioned it around him, he'd fly into a rage about it. And you were born a mage. Oops. Ever since our tavern was closed, my family's been in a lot of debt. Fighting always came naturally to me, so I became a mercenary and learned how to use magic to help me fight. Most of Wyvengard's are in the nobility. Most of Wyvengard's mages are in the nobility. People will pay a lot for a soldier who can use arcane magic. So that's why she was a mercenary. Celeste McCoy learned magic so she could support her family. Apparently, many people will pay extra for a mercenary that can use magic. Last night, my dad found my spell compendium. But when I saw him holding it, it finally came clean to him, and that set him off. He shouted at me. He told me that I betrayed him and everything he stood for. I can't imagine how that must have felt. I deserved it. I knew how much he hated magic. He was fighting for what he believed in, and I wasn't even there to protect him. Don't say that. You couldn't have known what would happen. I'm sure he still loved you. He just lost his temper. No, I could see it in his eyes. He hated me. And he died hating me. I felt a sharp pain in my chest as I read that, but I didn't say anything more. Locked door. There's a locked room in the tavern. It's at the very end of the hallway upstairs. The Inquisition probably searched it already, but it's the only room I haven't seen yet. At the end of the hallway? I think that's my room. Do you know how I could get there? I'm your liar. I'm not going to do anything strange. Sorry, you're right. I always keep the key on me. You can use it to get inside. The key to Celeste McCoy's bedroom in the McCoy Tavern. I'm going to assume that's all. Here we go. I wonder if there's new dialogue. There was a door at the end of the hallway. I saw light from under the door. Someone was inside. Nope. I slid Celeste's key into the lock and turned it, allowing the door to creak open. I heard the thumping of objects on the other side. Someone else was there. Oh, okay, let's see. So this is Celeste's mom, I believe, so how do I... Orym McCoy. I've already told you, Knight, everything I know. What more do you... Oh, it's you! Something about the way the woman carried herself reminded me of Celeste. I knew she was adopted, but she clearly took after her mother. I recognized the same bubbly warmth in the woman's posture, tempered with a subtle hint of maturity. Sorry if I'm intruding, but what are you doing in Celeste's room? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm Jolene. I'm Celeste's mother. Orym McCoy. Celeste's mother. I can't imagine what she's going through. She not only has to grieve her husband's death, but also deal with her daughter's arrest for his murder. I can't thank you enough for everything that you've done for her. I really appreciate you sticking by her after she hit you like that. It's fine, really. I kind of deserved it for freezing up like that. Anyways, Jolene was Flinhart's wife. That meant she knew him better than anyone else, even Celeste. Do you mind if I ask you some questions? Of course, I'll do anything to help. He's helped Celeste a lot, but can I really trust him? The eye revealed a hint of fear and distrust from her. Examine the bed. It's a fancy looking bed. Do you like it? Celeste had it custom made by someone in the city. Wouldn't something like this be really expensive? It was. I was really surprised when she returned from her travels. She was making a lot of gold from her job as a mercenary. I'm happy for her, but I still wish she'd do something less dangerous. Door. It's a door leading to the upstairs hallway. Table. It's a table with several chairs. It's probably used for entertaining guests. It didn't look like it's seen much use though. Anything else? Picture. It's a painting of a woman with a strange animal. The text says Madeline Kipling. Oh, I've always loved that painting. Celeste brought it back from her travels. That girl runs a wildlife sanctuary for endangered species. I think that creature is called the Fakim. They live in the swamps of the Eastern Kingdoms. I never knew that creatures like this even existed. I would put more effort into her voice, but if I'm remembering correctly, she never appears again after this episode, so I don't really care that much if her voice is amazing or not, so. Can you tell me more about your husband? Why did he hate magic so much? I understand that magic is a symbol of the nobility, but things sounded different with him. It's as if he thought that Celeste had betrayed him somehow. I wasn't there when they were arguing, but I can only imagine what he said to her. He's never had anything good to say about mages, and I could see how much his words indirectly hurt her. Did something happen? I don't really know. I don't trust him enough. I shouldn't talk about Effie. Who was Effie? Okay, that's a crazy thing just to say. Does Flinhart's resentment have something to do with Effie? How do you know about her? There shouldn't be any records of what happened. I have my ways of finding out. Of course. You work for Ruby Tymora. What did she do? Did she strong arm one of the neighbors into talking? We don't need people like her going around Cornhaven and opening up old wounds. What? Flinhart always idolized her, but I could never stand her methods. Is this about the rumours? Rumours? When my mentor started fighting it against the justice system, the nobility started levying accusations of misconduct against her. They spread rumours that she engaged in bribery, forgery, and blackmail, all to discredit her. Is that really true? She personally taught me how to defend prosecutor mages like your daughter. You've seen how I defend Celeste. I'm doing everything honestly and legally. Miss McCoy, I know you don't know who to trust right now, but I need to know more about Flinhart. Right now, I don't have any leads as to who might have done this. Okay, but promise me that you won't mention any of this in court. I don't want Celeste being dragged into another scandal, and I sure as hell don't want any more Steelwinds showing up in town. I can't make any promises, but my priority will always be to keep your daughter safe. I guess that's as much as I can ask for. Flinhart's past. Effie was Flinhart's younger sister. Celeste doesn't know about her. She died 20 years ago, and Flinhart never brought her up. What happened? She was friends with the son of the ruling noble back then, and he'd always sneak in town to see her. He was so different back then. Effie had always loved magic. It reminded her of the fairy tales she read growing up. He'd always show her his spells by the lake, all to make her smile. But he'd been warned not to use spells without his instructor present. One day, he lost control of one of his spells and wounded Effie. We rushed her back into town, but it was too late. By the time we could dress her wounds, she was already gone. Stories like that were awfully common among the nobility these days. The next day, the Arcane Inquisition came to investigate what happened. The boy's parents used their influence to cover everything up. They even threatened Flinhart's family into staying quiet. After that, they told Effie they told the town that Effie had been mauled to death by a wolf. Flinhart's sister. Flinhart McCoy's sister died during an accident involving the local lord and his magic. Ever since then, Flinhart has always hated magic and the mages who wield them. Flinhart all but declared war on the nobility after that. He turned our tavern into a meeting place for commoners who shared his resentment. Word spread, and night after night, more and more revolutionaries started showing up to his rallies. It wasn't long before they started planning a revolution. They started contacting like-minded groups in the towns nearby. They were even starting to arm themselves. I could only watch as everything unfolded. I heard stories about what the Steelwinds were doing to people like him. I begged him to stop, so did some of the other townfolk. We knew he was gonna get all of us killed. I was shocked when the knights told me he'd been murdered, but I wasn't surprised. I really hoped he'd let go of his anchor when Celeste showed up. He was really starting to change after we adopted her. Celeste McCoy. Can you tell me more about Celeste? How did she become a part of your family? It all happened 19 years ago, a year after Effie's death. We were closing one night when we found a baby with white hair abandoned in the dining area. We waited weeks for our parents to come by, but no one ever came looking for her. We named her Celeste after the full moon that was out that night. We'd always wanted a child, so I thought this must have been a gift from the Scaled Lord. If only you knew. But one day, I spotted Celeste practicing her magic. I think that's when I realized that a noble must have abandoned her at our inn. I didn't care though. I loved her all the same. Flinhart did too. Wait, you knew that she was a mage this entire time? I did. You haven't known her very long, but she's a terrible liar. Flinhart Mercer noticed too, but I think that he didn't want to believe it. It's my fault. I should have forced him to see the truth. Flinhart and Celeste. I spoke with Celeste earlier, and she believes her father died hating her. What? He loved her more than anything in the world. They must have been really close. More than anything. Do you want to hear a story? Celeste had just come from the Eastern Kingdoms. She wouldn't stop talking about this foreign drink that she loved. Flinhart did everything he could to have it shipped here. He even called in a bunch of favours to do it. In the end, he was only able to get a single bottle of it. Is it really that rare? It's a product of the Eastern Kingdoms, and it's hard to import anything from outside of Wyvengard. I wouldn't be surprised if it was the only bottle of lotus juice in this region. Wait a minute, lotus juice? Is this the bottle that Flinhart brought? Oh no, he was going to surprise her with it. I wondered where he had disappeared to. I found it shattered on the floor of the dining area. It's strange. Celeste would always help herself to our pantry, so he was hiding it in her room. Really? When was the last time you saw it? It was right before I left the house that night. It would have been in his room before that argument. Shattered bottle of lotus juice. The shattered remains of a glass bottle. He was holding this bottle and dropped it during the murder. It contained Celeste's favourite drink, lotus juice. Flinhart McCoy retrieved it from his room after his argument with Celeste. I had investigated the tavern as much as I could, but there was still one last thing I needed to do. It was time to head back to the dungeons and talk to Celeste. Move. Oh, I didn't expect the music just to stay the same. That threw me off. Oh, you're back. Did you forget something? There was one last thing I wanted to talk to you about. I wanted to talk to you about the argument you had with Flinhart. Oh. I knew what it was like to lose a parent. I'd never been able to carry that burden if I thought my mother had died hating me. I know he was angry at you, but after everything I've heard about you two, I know that he still loved you. Tyrion! Even in his final moments, I'm sure that he still cared for you. Nay, shut up. You don't know what you're talking about. It looked like it wouldn't be that simple though. I would need to persuade her if I wanted her to believe me. Flinhart's hatred. That final argument with her father would be a lasting scar on Celeste. Throughout this entire investigation, I learned how much they cared for each other. I couldn't leave things as they were. Yes. I know you're just trying to make me feel better, but my dad has hated mages. I knew that better than anyone. He's always hated magic. There's no reason behind it. Well, there's a very good reason actually. I don't know if it's my place to say this, but there's a reason why your father hated magic. What? Decades ago, he had a sister. She was killed by a mage in a tragic accident. And that's why he resented mages so much. It ripped away someone he loved dearly. I actually just want to check something. See, I don't know why, but for some reason I had the impression that this all happened when they were children. Like Effie dying. I thought they were all like 10 or something and they were just playing. I did not realize Garrick was 18 when this happened. That is way worse than I originally thought. And that just makes the natural discourage actually way more valid. Because I thought that they were like children and he just held it against them, which is like, it's fair to hold against Pierce killing his sister. But I thought it was like they were all children. But if Pierce was 18, then this is just a very valid reason for hatred. Hey, I never knew that. That just proves it then, doesn't it? It was selfish of me to learn magic. I knew how we felt about it when I didn't care. I just wanted to get away from my life here. He had every right to be angry at me. I was being selfish. It was selfish of me to learn magic. But you didn't learn magic just to benefit yourself though. You used it to support your family. You gave them hope when the nobility shut down their tavern. That's... You didn't have a choice. You had a gift and you used it to your advantage. That's not selfish. Shut up. What? Just shut up, Tyrion! Why won't you leave me alone? Celeste, you don't know anything. You weren't there. You didn't hear what he said to me. You didn't see the way he was looking at me. He was only thinking about how I betrayed him. I knew him. I knew him better than anyone. He loved me. He took care of me, and I threw it all away. I chose to become a mage. He would never forgive me for that. Lotus juice. Take a look at this picture, Celeste. What's this? Broken glass? Wait, that bottle. It's a bottle of lotus juice. These shards were on the floor of the crime scene. What? That can't be true. They don't even sell it in Wyvengard. Your father called in a bunch of favors to have it imported for you. He did? He didn't hate you, Celeste. He imported your favorite drink just to make you happy. I... No, that still doesn't change anything. If he did that all for me, it was before he knew the truth. That's not true. Stop acting like you know anything about us. You only met us yesterday. How could you know how he felt about me? Don't you think I want to believe you? I know the truth. He hated me. He hated me just like he hated every other mage. Celeste, your mother said the bottle was stowed in her room, but I found it shattered in the dining area near where the murder happened. He was holding when he died. That means he retreated after your argument. So? So, why would he have your gift if he was still angry at you? No. Why would he have it? It's because he loved you, Celeste. He knew he lost his temper and hurt you. So he was going to use that gift to apologize to you. What?
I still don't like this. My daughter, working as a mercenary of all things.
Come on, Dad. You know I can handle myself out there.
You shouldn't have to.
They closed the inn. If I didn't do this, we wouldn't have made it through the last winters. I know you're worried, but I can do this. No one can ever beat me in a fight.
Just be careful. I don't know what I'd do if anything happened to you.
Don't worry. Just let me do this for you. You and Mom both took me in. You took care of me for my entire life. I know I'm not really your daughter, but...
Why would you say something like that?
I'm sorry. I didn't mean...
Did those idiots in town say that? Tell me who. I'll go knock them out right now.
Dad, no one said that. It's just...
You're a McCoy. You've always been a McCoy. You're a daughter. I won't let anyone say otherwise, especially you.
Okay. Thanks, Dad. I love you.
I love you too.
How could I ever think that? She trailed off. She had barely been keeping it together throughout the whole argument. But her voice began to break, and she broke along with it. She paused for a moment, trembling, then she slowly fell against me. She gripped me tightly. Everything from the last few days finally came crashing down on her. I was sure I was the last person she wanted to comfort her, but I was the only one there. She'd held back her grief for this long. She was strong, much stronger than I had been. I hesitated, unsure of how to respond. I just held her as her quiet sobs echoed softly throughout the cell. Celeste, I'm sorry, but please don't talk right now. I did as she asked. I wasn't sure if it was enough, but I tried. Are you feeling better? Yeah, thanks. She wiped her eyes. They were still red. But she smiled at me, and it wasn't forced this time. Do you need water? What? I figured you lost fluids, and I thought you might be dehydrated. What was I saying? Celeste snorted out a laugh. I felt silly, but something about her laughing left me flustered. Tyrion, is everything really going to be okay? It will be. I'll get you that acquittal, no matter what. Man, king, or god? Yes, man, king, or god. She giggled to herself. Anyways, you should rest. The trial is going to resume soon. I learned as much as I could about what happened, but I had to assume that Steelwind had done the same. Who knew what the prosecution had in store for us? I just had to hope that I'd stacked the board in my favor. Was Pierce giving you all the details, Rudolph? Will you remember them?
Yes, my notes are pristine, and I pride myself on my eidetic memory.
Just so there are no misunderstandings, I do not approve of this. You said it yourself, Lady Steelwind. The evidence proves that I couldn't have murdered Flinhart, which leaves the bastard child as the only suspect. We don't know what sorts of tricks Tymora's stooge may pull tomorrow. Just see this as a way of securing a verdict. There will be no need for your father to intervene. Okay, and that is going to be the end of part 3. And next time I believe we're going to finish the first case next time, and that'll be the last trial segment. Hopefully, Celeste will be acquitted, and then that'll be that, and we'll move on to the second case of the game. As for this episode, it felt pretty similar to the uh original version of the game. The argument with Celeste, that there might have been a bit of changed dialogue, but overall, it was a good episode. It was perfectly fine. I enjoyed it a fair amount. There was like nothing wrong with it. And with that, I'll just end the video here and see you next time. Bye bye.